Yo. So, we covered what an empath is. So, next lesson, what is an empathic amplifier? What's any kind of other amplifier? It amplifies. So, an empathic amplifier amplifies empathy. What is amplifying empathy? Amplifying the emotional energy, the physical pain that I take on for other people. So when I'm experiencing their pain, their sadness, their hurt, their anger, the physical distress and pain that they may be experiencing, it's more acute, more intense. It covers all types of energy. Now, one of the things that happens with that amplification is that certain activities elicit a release of dopamine into the brain, and dopamine is often associated with the pleasure responses. So yeah, I'm talking about sex. Trying to be as nice about it as possible and not be crude, because it's serious. Because holding your hand down on the dopamine button, flooding nicotine helps produce dopamine. It's one of the reasons why it's so addictive is because of the dopamine production. So essentially, this higher level of dopamine production creates a whole nother kind of addict. And that's something that I personally, internally, have had a lot of conflict with as I find myself single again, nearing age 40. The idea of a random sexual encounter to me is really not even an option anymore, because I've seen the effects that it has not only on them but on me as well, in creating that addiction, turning myself into a dopamine addict. That's why I still smoke cigarettes. That's why it's really hard for me to quit, because there was a prolonged period of time where I was able to have sex on a regular basis while married, and that amplifier took that sexual experience to levels I can't even begin to describe, and really don't feel like going into any details on it either. Seems rude and crass. But it did turn me into an addict because of the chemical release. So it's something that I deal with. It's something that past sexual partners of mine, the women that I've been with in my life, some of them still deal with it, as I've had multiple women over the years come back not looking for me, not looking for Jim, not looking for the human being to create a human connection with, but looking for a dopamine fix. The only way that they could get it, the only way they'd ever experienced that level of dopamine or pleasure before in their life during the sexual embrace. I've talked to other people who also experience this amplifier quality, who have noticed the exact same pattern with their past sexual partners. It's not that the sexual partner really cares too much about them, but they're addicted to the dopamine levels that are achieved during sex. You don't see a smile on my face when I'm talking about this. It's not something I feel really good about, but it does give me the opportunity to really think about how I choose to behave with the opposite sex. I am a big fan of monogamy. Big fan of monogamy. And I look forward to the next opportunity I have to have a committed relationship, so that I'm not going to have it in the back of my head worried about whether or not this one night stand is going to turn into a stalker. Had that happen before in the past. She was actually friends with my roommate, so I gave her every opportunity to come and hang out, whether I invited her or not. I wish I could say there was only one time that this kind of thing took place in my past. Not proud of my history where women are concerned, but at the same time forgive myself, because I didn't realize my gifts and what I was until I was age 37. I had already been 5 years with my ex-wife. Matter of fact, it was just after we had gotten married that I awoke to my own gifts. Still doesn't make it right. Still doesn't make it fair. But gives me an added sense of self-responsibility and self-accountability that was never present before. And it's something that if you find yourself coming to this realization that you may possess this gift, this hypersensitivity, this hypersensitive level of empathy, and you find yourself in the same position when you're looking back at the history of your life, I hope that my sharing this with you helps you feel not alone and gives you another human being that you can go, well, he dealt with it. He forgave himself. He put that self-responsibility and accountability into his life, that discipline to make the commitment to himself to find a committed relationship, not just somebody to share my bed with for the moment. Because with this gift, like Spider-Man used to say, with great power comes great responsibility. That's cheesy, yeah, I know. Get over it. But it kind of fits. You know, it when you can amplify that kind of energy, it is very powerful. You become filled with power. Raw, sexual power. While you are engaged in the activity. So I would hope that those who find themselves as amplifiers would take the opportunity to re-examine themselves and their life and make their best personal decision for themselves. I don't need to tell anybody what to do. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. If you feel like doing the same thing, great, sweet. If not, not my problem. I just wanted to get the information out so that maybe others could avoid some of the pitfalls I have fallen in and climbed right back out of, and maybe some others who didn't realize it before and are awakening to the fact of themselves, won't feel alone and know that this guy does the same exact thing, and it's okay. You're not crazy. Neither am I. I've had too many witnesses, too many experiences, too many compared stories with too many people to discount that which I have chosen to speak about. Jesus. Yeah, I should edit that out. Probably won't. You know why? I'm human, and I want you people to know that. But most of all, I want you to know that when I awoke to this, my being, I didn't have me out there putting the message out. I didn't have the group of people that I work with in a group on Facebook of people who are awakening to their gift, and it gives me the opportunity to be what I needed most when I couldn't find it. And that was somebody to tell me, hey, it's okay. You are not alone. You are not crazy. Here I am, reaching out so that you don't have to feel the suffering and the anguish and the pain that I went through for over a year. Over a year of constant self-doubt of my own sanity. Constant alone. Feeling completely and totally alone. Not just in this, but as a human being in general. Even when surrounded by people. And as I started to talk about it, the people in my life started to disappear. Including my third wife, who I am no longer with. So I understand the effects that it has on your life in a very personal way when you come to these realizations and start telling the people around you, and they start disappearing. They stop calling. They stop checking on you. Because you just became that guy they know that won't shut up about this thing he can do that I really don't believe and really kind of freaks me out. If I had it my way, nobody would ever experience the anguish and pain and loss that I have gone through in my life because I woke up to what I am and I decided to tell people. Because I never wanted anyone to think that I was manipulating them because, well, I could. And for someone like me, that's a very easy thing to do. The emotional intelligence that develops, the base understanding of human psychology in its totality that an empath becomes as they master their skill. They don't need to study a book. They don't need to pick up a book on psychology. They are walking, talking human psychology. They get it. They can run a shrink in circles. But most importantly, you're not alone. Neither am I. There are millions of people like us all around the world. So if you feel as though something like this is going on within you and you've never explored it before, I would invite you to use Google. Look up empath tests. Look up empath groups. Facebook, there's other websites. The one group I would say to absolutely stay away from is the Empaths of Pagan Space. The most abusive people that I dealt with during my awakening, they were quite verbally abusive towards me, and my desire not to be a lying human being deceptive about what I am. Because all of them told me I should lie to all of you and never do what I'm doing right now. Never reach out. Never educate. So that maybe instead of feeling the need to hide, maybe because I took the time not to think of myself, but to think of every other human being on the planet, and realize that without this education, people like me may as well be homosexuals hiding in a closet. And I've talked to a lot of homosexuals over my life. They're great people. I'm straight. Oh well. But I'm not going to compare it. I'm just going to say that it's a similar feeling of the people in my life telling me, hey, shut up about it. We don't want to hear about it. We don't want to know what you are. Nobody should ever be made to feel that way. No one. And the fact that I've been turned down for employment many times over because of how vocal and honest I am really should be seen as a fucking crime. And yeah, so that's that. This video is way longer than I intended, but apparently it was long enough to get out what it is I really needed to say. Can't wait to see what happens next time. Anyway, guys, be sure to share this with everybody you know, so that as many people that might be able to be educated by this and learn from my experience, and maybe even for the first time in their life be able to know who and what they are. That's worth any of the shit I'm going to take for this. Totally worth it. Would do it over and over and over again, which you'll see when I do the next video. Anyway, I love you all. Have a great one. See ya!